yes, yes, Anisha, thank you for your invitation. I'm really happy to see full of people interesting for controlling. It's really nice to see this because controlling is my life, so I'm happy that it's yours as well. I would like to share my experience, what is happening in controlling, with standards of controlling and also with instruments of controlling. I will share my experience from Slovenia practice. As you see in Slovenia, this controlling thing started in early 90s, and we were a small group of advisors, consultants, and we implement controlling in companies, and at that time we realized that we should first educate people to whom we work with, because they didn't know what controlling is. And if we want to implement controlling, they should know what we'll get. And so we established controlling school for controllers, we named it at that time. And our first students were accountants, what I presume is most probably also here. Accountants are first who are involved in controllers at the beginning. And then we were immediately we found out that we have to find someone that we could talk to, and we joined IGC because we realized that we have the same goals. We want to promote controlling, we want to develop controlling in our area, and most of all, we want to have a unique platform for education in controlling and for controllers and accountants, and we want to uniform technology. This was really quite a job because, you know, if something is new in the country, everyone has his own idea what controlling is, what controllers should do, and so on. And Professor Gleich already explained what these standards in controlling, control and mission statement, and dictionary for controllers, controller process model, controller process KPIs, and the last one, controller competence model. You see, these books, these standards, are quite known in Slovenia, but not very in use. Because controller mission statement is something that controllers really like and work with, because standards, every standard, help controllers and also managers to do their job. And this first one, controller mission statement, it's something that controllers could rely on when they want to explain to someone what is controller's job and also what is other's job. For example, managers, because, you know, controllers and managers should work together as a team. So these are close partners, I may say. And this controller mission statement is very popular and very much in use in Slovenia. Then dictionary for controllers as well, because when this dictionary when IGC decided to prepare this dictionary, our school was immediate with them, and we helped them with this explanation, with terms and so on. So at the beginning, dictionary was translated immediately into Slovene language, and it's still, for some controllers, still a Bible for controlling, because in this dictionary we have a lot of terms that are in daily basis in use with controllers, and they look and check and see the terminology, and see the procedure and so on. And dictionary, of course, there was a few new edition, but it's still very useful for controllers and for managers, of course. You know that in small companies, we don't have a position controller because they don't have enough work to do for controllers. And who is the main controller in small companies? Manager. So he's the first controller in the company. And then, these controlling things are very useful for controllers as well, for managers as well, sorry. Next one, this controlling process model. This is a standard that helps controlling to see what kind of process should have, not to have too much work. And a few big companies in Slovenia use this controlling process model, but expectedly we were surprised that when we realized that this controlling process model is also used in other parts in the company, in marketing, for example, in accountant. So it's something that you can use and go by book through the process. And this is something that helps every standard, every standard is something that helps in daily business. And nowadays, when we work more and more, it's good to have something that you don't think too much on every step. Then controlling process KPIs. This is something, as Dr. Glei already explained, we should measure what we prepare in the process model. This is not very in use in Slovenia, I must say. KPIs are very popular, but not for me, It's good to have KPIs, but not for me. So this is not very much in use, not properly. And the last one, control and competence model. This is not well known in Slovenia yet, but it's normal because it's still the new book, it's new standard, and every new thing needs a time to be approved, to be applied, and so on. So our controllers and managers, so controlling population in Slovenia, they know that this standard because we in school, and we also have every year a conference in Slovenia, and this year we organized the 17th conference. We talk a lot about this because how can controllers know that some standards are if someone don't speak about it? And controllers and controller school and on conferences and seminars and workshops, these are places that we could talk about it. I would like to say something about controlling instruments. Economic instruments useful for controllers. You most probably know a lot of instruments from the faculty already, and some of them you now use in your daily business, some of them not. I would like to point it out. I would start with this picture. You most probably know this picture. This is famous controlling picture, and it explains that controlling is what is intersection. And controlling is a teamwork between managers and controllers. And the bigger this intersection is, the more important controlling in the company is. So, and if you ask controllers, do you use instruments? He or she will normally say, oh yes, but I don't have time. I have reports to prepare, I have data to collect, I don't have time to do this. If you want to use instruments properly, you have to know what is the instrument. You have to know how to use it. So normally, I always suggest, of course, it's not on my list to do that, but I suggest you should use not only Excel. Excel is a very useful tool for controllers, but you have more work to do with data. It's better to have some sophisticated business intelligence tool, but this is another story. And if you have some tools, then you have much more time to prepare analysis, and this is the main controller's work, and less time to collect data. So this is much better for controllers and for controllers' career as well. And I will point it out as if instruments, maybe you will see strange, but if the instruments are in use in some company, depends on many things. First of all, of the company, of the culture in the company. If the company doesn't want controlling, they have controller, but they don't like it. You know, control is definitely connected to this word control something, you control something. And most people, especially at the beginning, don't like this controller stuff. So if there are underestimation, assumption, and so on, so you don't have time to do the really good thing because you have some emergency things to do. Then of the size of, it depends on the size of the company. In bigger company, they have a department of controlling. So there are 2, 3, or even 10. We have in Slovenia a few companies with 10 or 12 controllers. And if you have a department, then you can share, you can split the work. So someone could work with instruments, the others could collect data, for example. And with the structure, so who do what. And then very important is also this controller's position in the company. So if he is something that nobody care about it, or he is a person that others listen to him. So this is very important. And maybe you know that could be, this controller's roles could be in 3 steps. First, controller just prepare reports, deal with figures, so collect data, prepare reports, send by email or by post, and he doesn't contact to anyone. I don't agree. I think this is not good because you don't, this controller don't know, well, if the manager understands these reports. But what is the main point, what is the main goal of preparing reports and selling the reports to managers? What's the main point? To take an action. Managers should do something. So this is definitely not good, but if controller have so much to do, he doesn't have time to talk, to discuss with managers. The second step is that controller is a navigator and advisor. This is much more proper, and I think this is the main controllers are in this phase. Because they navigate, it means that they prepare plans together with manager according to goals and so on, and they are advisors as well. So they speak to the managers, they see how they think, and managers see how controllers think. This is very important to find the same language, that understand each other. And after that, controllers could change a little bit reports so that they are more understandable. And the third step is that controller is a change agent and innovator. So this is in Slovenia, in some companies, in big companies, because there is a chief controller officer and he is in charge for this part. Other controllers in his department have other work to do. And what about controlling instrument in practice? I mentioned already 3 things. Applying an instrument requires, I'm totally 100% sure, that requires knowing the methodology. So you know the instruments and you will do somehow. It's not, you should know the proper methodology. Then understanding the numbers. Controller should understand the numbers and should know what expect from this analysis. And then correct interpretation of the results. I think this is very important because the interpretation should lead to actions with connection to managers, with speaking to managers. This is very important thing. And according to this, controllers should have moderation and communication skills. So we are all human. We have bad and good days, but when we are controllers, we should not have bad days at all. And managers, people who receive our reports are not very happy with the numbers, especially if the numbers are not good. So we should deal with these numbers, with these expectations, leading to actions that should be done after that. And I think controller's job is not so easy. And this is a result of our small analysis in our school. This is my internal paper. Our school, we do analysis of, we check time to time use of controlling instruments in Slovenia. This is the result of about 170 questionnaire people. And you see, we did this in 2010 and then again in 2015. Here are a few instruments. Most probably you know it all, or maybe it's a little bit, maybe you name it a little bit different. But you see what big change was at budgeting, this budgeting instrument. So it means that in these 5 years, a lot of people, a lot of companies start to use proper process of budgeting. And cost-benefit, cost-effects, efficiency calculation. Then KPIs, I told you that KPI are a very popular topic in Slovenia. And cash flow budget, of course, when we fall in crisis, suddenly this cash flow budget were very important. It's always important, but you know, the topics are important at the very last. And then this ABC analysis or Pareto principle, you know it most probably. And this was surprisingly because, you know, we have a lot of economic instruments. Some are very complex, some are very simple. And this Pareto principle is a very simple instrument, but it has a tremendous results and added value for controllers' work. And of course, if controllers or managers do some actions, this is good. So this is simple tool with great results. And there are some other instruments. I was also surprised with SWOT analysis because, you know, SWOT analysis is normally instrument of strategic controlling. And in Slovenia, controllers are not very much involved in strategic questions. But when I check a little bit details, I realize that SWOT analyses are, for more years, very much used also in operational business. So this is the result. We also have this strategic company profile. Because of competition, this is more important again. Portfolio analysis, activity-based costing is not very much in use in Slovenia. And of course, there are some other instruments, but I didn't put them on this folio. So these are our results. You see, things are happening in Slovenia, and because we have a lot of new, small family business company, we are at the beginning again. You know, when company grows, at the beginning they don't deal with controlling and controllers and so on. They take care for business, for sales, for money. After that, they step ahead and said, okay, now we should organize our processes. And we have a lot of small business, about about 100 people. This is not actually so small, but it's family business, and now they change the generation. In between changing, when the generation is changing, a lot of changing is also in the processes. So I would say that instruments, controlling instruments and standards in controlling definitely help controllers and managers, but they have to be aware what they have to use, and they have to use it properly. Thank you.